What a lovely way to be distracted from a commercial. Good morning, Steve Goodman.
How you doing?
Okay, how are you? It is a pleasure to welcome you to WNEW FM, to welcome you to New York. You are in town to play down at the other end tomorrow and Tuesday as well, right?
Right. That's going to be fun. I haven't been here to play since May, since before the album came out. So
Where do you call home, Steve?
Chicago. I was born and raised.
John Prine country as well, too, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he's my best friend.
Yeah, there was a whole thing when your album and John's album first came out, the original albums, there was a whole thing about the folk underground kind of scene in Chicago that people were excited about.
There is still a pretty healthy local scene there, you know, and it's just removed enough from the music business itself of the sort of superstructure of the business that exists in New York and Los Angeles. There's a lot of artists in Chicago who know that they're not going anywhere, so it's actually pretty nice, you know. There's no backbiting or anything like that, and it's a pretty healthy scene. There's a few bars that support local talent.
Yeah, it's people just making music for the fun of it, huh?
Yeah, well, they're trying to get somewhere with it, but there's not all that many places to get with it in Chicago, is what I'm trying to say. So mostly people learn what they're doing there and then take it somewhere else to try to sell it. At least that's what I've seen.
Mm-hmm. You have your guitar with you.
Yeah.
And it sure would be nice to just sit back and listen to you play.
I'd be glad to.
Okay.
It's Sunday morning and it's raining. There isn't much else to do. Well, here's a tune that Billy Mayhew wrote. As long as you're playing some stuff out of the 30s and 40s. I learned this off a Fats Waller record. Just be sure when you say I love you, it's a sin to tell a lie. Millions of hearts are broken just because those words were spoken. I love you, yes I do, I love you. If you break my heart, I'll cry. Just be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie. Yes, I do, I love you. If you break my heart, I'll cry. Just be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie. It's a sin to tell a lie. It's a sin to tell a lie.
That's so nice.
Well, I'm awake now.
Yeah, okay, I think we're all awake now.
Well,
Steve
about halfway
Goodman.
through that, I remembered that there hadn't been any warm-up of any sort prior to that.
Oh, how do your fingers feel?
I guess they're okay. It was a challenge round, though.
I promised the folks some heavy picking this morning, and I think we just gave it to them.
Yeah, but we didn't say where it would come from. And I got lucky on that. I almost missed it. Well, let's see. If this gets too slick for anybody, I guess they can call us up and we'll loosen it up.
You go right ahead and do what you want to do.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, let's play a sort of a 12-bar thing. I don't play this one too much, just off of that album. We were sitting around one night, David Amram and myself, and we came up with this thing about well, we tried to put Moby Dick into one 12-bar song, so it came out. This one works so good, we're going to try Silas Marner now, or something. But call me Ishmael. Ishmael is my name. Call me Ishmael. Ishmael is my name. I served under Captain Ahab out on the Bound in Maine. Ahab walked out on that deck and he said unto his men, till we spot that great white whale we will not sail home again. And he took out a gold coin and he nailed it to the tree. Says this coin belongs to the man who spots the whale that took my leg from me. 40 days at sea, 40 days and 40 nights. We took many a whale, my boys, but not one white whale in sight. Hear that lookout holler, whoa, there she blows. Lower the boats and over the side we go. Through that first harpoon, Starbuck threw another, Ahab threw a third, and the boat capsized in the water. And that great white whale is the biggest I ever did see. And I prayed to the Lord, won't you save poor me? Now we need about 4,000 hippies yelling, get down, get down. And the sea gets to boiling and made a mournful sound. The Pequod was lost and many a good man did drown. Black blood comes from that white whale. What's that I see? Ahab rides that whale's tail. And when I woke up on a British man of war, made up out of the moon and stars, I would go to sea no more. Call me Ishmael. Ishmael is my name. I served under Captain Ahab out on the Bound in Maine. Maybe you ought to play a record for
It cost you a string there, didn't it?
Yeah, that's all right.
Steve Goodman with us this morning, on a Sunday morning, at WNEW FM in New York. It's about 17 minutes after 11 o'clock. We will get back to some more live music after these words.
Vin Scelsa with you here this Sunday morning, WNEW FM in New York, and it is my real pleasure to welcome, on Easter Sunday, Steve Goodman.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'll let you know at noon when I wake up. I don't take the steak out of my heart till about 12.
It's the standard complaint that everybody has when they come up on this Sunday morning show of mine, but everybody seems to have a good time.
I wouldn't miss it, but they told me I had a good time last year.
Yeah, you did. You had a real good time, and so did the rest of us. And it's nice to have you back in New York with us. You're going to be out in Jersey tonight, right?
Yeah, in Passaic. We're going to make a short stop at Mary DeMarco's house, at Albonetta's mother's house for Easter dinner. Yeah.
And then out to the Capitol Theater tonight with Janice Ian, right?
Right.
Later on this week, you'll be doing Avery Fisher?
Yeah, next Friday. In between, I think I'm going down to Haverford College in Pennsylvania one night. Something else, I can't remember what it is.
And right now?
Oh, you asked for this, right?
And right now, yeah.
Vin Scelsa of New York, you asked for it. Sorry, Irving. Old Irving Berlin must be rolling over. In your Easter bonnet, with all the frills upon it, you'll be the grandest lady in the Easter parade. I'll be all in clover, and when they look you over, I'll be the proudest fellow in the Easter parade. On the avenue, Fifth Avenue, the photographer will snap us, and you'll find that you're in the rotogravure. I could write a sonnet about that Easter bonnet, and of the girl I'm taking to the Easter parade. Play it, Irving. Fifth Avenue, the photographer will snap us, and you in the road review. Oh, I could write a sonnet about that Easter bonnet, and of the girl I'm taking to the Easter parade, and of the girl I'm taking to the Easter parade.
Oh, thank you. I knew that if anybody could do the Easter parade on an Easter Sunday morning and make it palatable for all of us, it would be you. It would be you, Steve. That was delightful.
Old Irving.
Did you guys run into the parade outside when you were coming up? Are they out there yet?
They're
folks?
out. There was a woman in a black. Sit up close to the mic, dummy. Okay. A woman in a black hat and a pink parasol, right in front of the. Oh, what's the big church?
St. Pat's.
Right. Okay. Yes.
And that was it.
Oh, yeah. Her and 2,000 people looking at her. But other than that,
It's going to be a little hot out there on the street today, I think. It's going to keep a lot of folks away from walking up and down.
it's going to wilt a couple of bonnets. Yeah, what time does it start? Is it supposed to?
It just happens. Somebody called before, a lady from New Jersey called. She said, what time does the parade start? It's just people who wander in, and start walking up and down Fifth Avenue. It's not a parade like the Thanksgiving Day parade or something like that. It's just folks who walk up and down the street. They just close off Fifth Avenue and do it. people with lots of nice clothes on. That's all.
Oh, good, Al. We can go out there and walk on your shoulders, and we'll be afloat.
This is WNEW FM in New York. It's 15 minutes before noon, and we have a real nice Easter Sunday morning going here with Steve Goodman.
Salesman joke. It's called Death of the Salesman. That traveling salesman stopped for gas as it was getting late. His eyes was tired and it's starting to snow out on the interstate. And he says, "Will you fill her up, my friend, and see if my oil's alright? Do you know a place where a tired out traveling man might spend the night?" The attendant winked at him and said, "I bet you've been around. Now the man who puts up lodgers here is known as Farmer Brown. You'll find him in that big stone house that's just at the edge of town. And he's got a 15-year-old daughter who likes to fool around." Now the salesman winked right back at him and a smile came to his lips. He paid for his gas and oil, and then he gave that man a tip. He started up and he pushed that old gas pedal down to the floor. Roared off like a bat and in nothing flat, he was at the farmer's door. Now the door opened up and a beautiful girl says, "Won't you come on in?" That traveling salesman's tongue was hanging out like Rin Tin Tins. That old gas station attendant said, "I would find you here. And do you have a suitable room you could rent to me, my dear?"
"Last kind, sir, I'm sorry, but the last one's gone, you see. So if you want to spend the night, you will have to sleep with me."
He says, "How fortuitous, my pretty little miss." And he threw his arms around her and he gives that girl a kiss. Words, got him. Her warm and tender ruby lips, her warm and tender ruby lips he scarcely could believe. And he never saw the hammer she had hidden up her sleeve. She said, "I'm getting sleepy, why don't we go to bed?" And as they turned to climb the stairs, she whooped him on the head. Now the very next day, the salesman's car with brand new license plates was sitting in Farmer Brown's gas station down at the interstate. So all of you traveling salesmen who might be passing through, better watch your step or that traveling salesman joke will be on you.
When I first heard the record, I was sitting there saying, well, okay, how's Steve going to get himself out of this one? You whooped him on the head, man.
Let me tell you.
That's on the new album, Steve Goodman's Words We Can Dance To. We've got something better than the new album this morning. We've got him right here in the studio live. And if you want, play another song for us.
I'm going to tune that B string. Let's see.
Okay.
boy eating an apple, and he went to throw the core away. And then he took another look, and somebody heard him say, I ain't gonna throw that away. I ain't gonna throw that away. There's a whole lot more apple on that core, and I ain't gonna throw it away. There was a blind man eating in the county house, and he found a rat tail in his stew. He heard somebody shout, blind man, throw that out. He said, I'll be gosh darn if and I do. I ain't gonna throw it away. I ain't gonna throw it away. Because when we eat, we get a mighty little meat, and I ain't gonna throw that away. Uncle Ben was sipping gin, laying up in the shade. A great big bug fell in his jug. Well, you should have seen the splash that it made. Ben says, I ain't going to throw that away. I ain't gonna throw that away. This alcohol isn't harmed at all, and I'm not going to throw that away. I ain't going to throw it away. I ain't gonna throw it away. This alcohol isn't hurt at all, and I'm not gonna throw it away. That's a pretty good song.
Who wrote that?
Howard Armstrong, old fiddle player.
And how far back does that go?
Oh, you'd have to ask him. I don't know when he makes
In the
these
20s,
things.
30s, or is it?
Well, you know, he's been playing that long. He's almost 70.
Yeah.
Yeah. His son, Rap Armstrong, was the bass player in Mahavishnu, John McLaughlin's orchestra, for
Really?
a couple of years. Yeah, musical family.
Obviously, in a very divergent musical taste as well.
Yeah, there's.
That song reminds me a little bit of one of the new tunes that I heard you do recently down at the Bottom Line. A song about your life being on videotape.
All of the riverboat gamblers are losing their shirts. And all of the brave Union soldier boys sleep in the dirt. But you know, and I know, there never was reason to hurt when all of our lives were entwined to begin with here in Spoon River. All of the calico dresses the gingham and the lace, are up in the attic with grandfather's Derringer case. There's words whispered down in this hallway, a shadowy face, and the morning is heavy with one more beginning here in Spoon River. Come to the dance, Mary Perkins, I like you right well. The Union is preserved, and if you listen then you hear all the bells. There must be a heaven, the Lord knows. I've seen mostly hell, and my rig is outside, coming right through the morning. Here is Spoon River. All of the riverboat gamblers are losing their shirts. And all of the brave Union soldier boys sleep in the dirt. But you know, and I know, there never was reason to hurt when all of our lives were entwined to begin with here in Spoon River.
Tell me a little bit about Mike Smith, the guy who wrote that song.
He must be in his low 30s now. I guess he was born in New Jersey, and I met him in Florida in 1970, I guess it was. And 69 or 70, I don't want to tell that lie. And he had a group called Juarez for a while, and the Dutchman's been recorded by a bunch of people, and I think it's called Crazy Mary, Bonnie Kolak did.
Lives in the Midwest, doesn't he?
Yeah, he lives in Chicago now. He just moved there from Detroit. For a couple of years in Detroit, he had a show called Personals. It was sort of like a Jacques Brel kind of review of his songs that never got out of Detroit, but ran in a dinner theater there, did enough business to run for a couple of years there, and he was in the pit band of it. So he was off of the scene literally for a couple of years.
Is he getting back into it now?
I think so. You know, he's gigging around the Midwest with his wife Barbara Barrow, and they sing great.
They put out an album a few years back. It's got one of my favorite album titles. It's called Mickey and Babs Get Hot.
Yeah,
Barbara Barrow and Mike Smith.
Yeah, they play much better live than they did on that record, and that's nobody's fault. You know, it's just one of those things. The record's not representative of the quality of their work.
He's written some incredible songs.
Yeah, Brilliant Cat. Yeah. One of my favorites. Yeah.
Would you do Dutchman for us?
I'd love to, man. I got a chance to play in Holland last year, and
oh wow, what an experience that must have been.
And Smith's never been there, you know, and he somehow managed to capture some of the subtle nuances of all this stuff. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna play the guy's song. It's about two old people that live in Holland. I've known this song as long as I've known Mike, I guess. I learned this about 1970.
The Dutchman is not the kind of man who keeps his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. That's a secret only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam is golden in the summer, then Margaret brings him breakfast and she believes him. He thinks tulips bloom beneath the snow. He's mad as he could be, but Margaret only sees that sometimes. Sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes, and his cap and coat are patched with the love that Margaret sewed there. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He watches tugboats down canals and calls out to them when he thinks he knows the captain. Margaret comes to take him home again, through unforgiving streets that trip him though she holds his arm. And sometimes he thinks he's alone, and he calls her name. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The winter whirls the windmills round, and she winds his muffler tighter. They sit in the kitchen. Some tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment and calls her name, and she makes the bed up singing some old love song. Margaret learned the song when it was very new. He hums a line or two, they sing together in the dark. Then the Dutchman falls asleep and Margaret blows the candles out. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me.
I've heard you do that song, so many times now, and each time I hear it, I still my skin tingles. And it's such a beautiful song.
You know, somebody ought to take that song to Judy Collins or something. You know, and Mike could be living in a big mansion. And, you know, I'm serious. You know, that's a hell of a song.
Somebody is looking for music for Judy Collins, for material, for a new album, and maybe, and I'm sure that somebody is probably listening right now.
Well, she's heard City in New Orleans, and you know, and in fact, I got to play on the record she made of it. So she knows about some of the records I've made, so maybe she's already heard it and just overlooked it. You know,
we'll bring it to her attention. You know. The Dutchman.
It's none of my business, man. But somebody ought to cut that thing. Yeah.
How did it go over in Amsterdam? Did they know the song there?
Well, they didn't know about it, man, but they liked hearing about anything that, you know, they speak English better than we do. That's, well, better than I do.
What was the occasion for you being there? Was it a club date or a big concert or what?
Well, you know, it was sort of in between, to tell you the truth. You know, they're sort of like concert clubs there, and there's a place they're called the Milkweg or Milky Way, right? That is it's about in attitude about 7 years back, man. It's like an old Fillmore or something like that, or something like that. And it's interesting, you know. It's like Haight Street in spots, you know. They have different drug laws over there, you know. They were selling hashish for $2 a gram in the hall. You know, government hash quotes. You know, I guess you can do that in certain neighborhoods. Right? It was interesting, man. Yeah. There's the one place where you didn't have to smoke.
Just breathe.
Yeah, you know, the basic act of inhaling and exhaling was all that was required. It was an elevating experience, to say the least. But Amsterdam is the kind of town. It looks like an old. Well, it is. It's 700 years old. You know, it looks like an old, rundown city on some dirty old canals. And you say, well, what's so special about this place? Except, after about 3 days there, it's as warm a place as there is in Europe. The people are great. Yeah, they're just terrific, old and young. I mean, they're just great. Should I just play this thing then?
I think so. Yeah, we're back. Well, I'll give it a 7. You know,
Yeah, man.
Had a pretty good beat. You could dance to it, except it got too quiet at the end. You know, I was into it. Then it got kind of quiet there.
Yeah, sort of aired out.
Bandstand. Good Lord. Every kid watched that show when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. Every 11 and 12-year-old boy watched that show for their only experience with sex was Bandstand, you know? Like, the girls all watched it to learn the dances, is what I'm told. But the boys all watched it with their mouths hanging, you know?
Yeah, it's the training ground of the stars of all his X-rated movies. There.
Dick Clark definitely has made a deal with the devil. The man never ages. The man is a...
Yeah, he's got a picture in the closet that
really
looks
does.
terrible, man. You're
Really?
right.
He must.
Absolutely.
He must. Steve Goodman with us on this Easter Sunday morning, WNEW FM in New York.
I better play this do-it-yourself thing, right?
Okay.
appreciate you talking like that, but give me a chance to tune this thing. That doesn't mean I got it tuned. It means I just got it close.
Some forgotten date, this old world was in such a sorry state. The Lord made it rain and said that's all she wrote. It was 2 by 2 the animals filed on board, and Noah looked up and he said, hey Lord, how the hell do you expect this thing to flow? The Lord said, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. You can't count on anybody else. It sure is hard to get good help these days. It's a little hard work is its own reward, and there isn't any sense in calling on the Lord, 'cause everybody knows that the Lord helps anyway. At the first Thanksgiving on Plymouth Rock, the Indians taught the pilgrims how to turkey trot. John Alden and Priscilla were twisting the night away. And then they took a little walk around the bend. John Alden popped the question on behalf of his friend, and she gave the answer that took that boy's heart away. When she said, Johnny, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. You can't count on anybody else. Sure is hard to get good help these days. Oh, a little hard work is its own reward, and there isn't any sense in calling on the Lord, 'cause everybody knows that the Lord helps anyway. The morning newspaper got bent out of shape. They found the 18 missing minutes of the Watergate tape and took it to Peoria to see if the tape would play. It was, oh Rosemary, don't you weep, don't you mourn. Alderman met Ehrlichman coming through the corn with an Oval Office memo. This is what it had to say. Now if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. You can't count on anybody else. Sure is hard to get good help these days. These days a little hard work is its own reward. There isn't any sense in calling on the Lord, 'cause everybody knows that the Lord helps. Everybody knows that the Lord helps. Everybody knows that the Lord helps anyway.
Do it yourself. Do it yourself.
Tune it yourself.
Did you finally get a tune?
No. I haven't let anything like that stand in the way for a couple of years now, though. Ever since I went deaf.
That's a great song. That's got to become like an underground hit single.
Great, it will be played
Wait a
only
minute,
in
hold it.
caves. Right. I can see it now, man. We'll hit the cave billboard.
Oh, well. I think we have time maybe for one more.
Oh, okay, man. Let me see. Maybe if I tune for a while, man, we won't have time for any more. Hang on a second here. Man, I'll bet you edit this. Oh.
This is honest radio here.
There was one more to go. On WNEW this morning, Steve Goodman's guitar fell completely apart with one more to go. The guitar will be cremated at the other end.
Meanwhile, back on Bandstand, you're going to go into the studio soon and do a new album, I'm told.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, Joel Dorn's going to produce it. I'm pretty happy about it.
Joel Dorn is the guy who recently worked with Leon Redbone.
Yeah,
And did
I like
some
the
interesting
Roberta
things
Fleck
there.
and Yusef Lateef records he made, too.
He's been around for a long time, Joel Dorn. And that's a nice combination.
Yeah, well, it was a pleasure to meet the guy, man. I've been very lucky, though, man. You know, I've worked with some great musicians and producers with and without precedent reputations. You know, I was fortunate enough to work with all those Nashville cats the first time I made a record. You know, actually sit there and play with Charlie McCoy and Grady Martin and all those guys, and with Christopherson and Norbert Putnam, and then to get to work with Arif Mardin, you know, was a producer's idol. You know, it was great.
That was the second album.
Right, and I got to make a couple of records with my friends. You know, with Steve Berg, who produced the last David Bromberg record, which I like so much, and a new record by Saul Brody. He's a very bright kid, and he's gonna make a lot of great records. And you know, and now I get to work with Joel, man. I don't know. I stumble into these situations. You know, people supposedly have reasons for them. You know. Well, this is this and that is that. But, you know, I don't know. It's mostly good fortune. And,
Well, just as long as you keep stumbling into our lives every once in a while, Steve Goodman.
well, pleasure to be here, and I better play something now. Riding on the city of New Orleans, Illinois Central, Monday morning rain. 15 cars and 15 restless riders, 3 conductors and 25 sacks of mail. Out on a southbound odyssey, the train pulls out of Kankakee and rolls past houses and farms and fields, passing towns that have no name and freight yards full of old black men in the graveyards of the rusted automobiles. Just a singing, good morning America, how are you? Hey, don't you know me, I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. I was dealing cards with the old men in the club car. Any point ain't nobody keeping score. And pass that paper bag that holds that bottle. Feel the wheels grumbling beneath the floor. Sons of Pullman porters and the sons of engineers ride their daddy's magic carpet made of steam.
and mothers with the babes asleep go rocking to the gentle beat, and the rhythm of the rails is all they dream. Just a singing good morning America and how are you? Don't you know me, I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Nighttime on the city of New Orleans, changing cars in Memphis, Tennessee. Halfway home and we'll be there by morning, through the Mississippi darkness rolling to the sea. All the towns and people seem to fade into a bad dream. The steel rails still ain't heard the news. The conductor sings that song again, its passengers, oh please refrain. This train's got the disappearing railroad blues. And it's good night America, how are you? Don't you know me, I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans, and I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Good night America, how are you? Don't you know me, I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans, and I'll be gone a long, long time when day is done.
Steve Goodman, as always, it's a delight to have you up here.
Thank you, Ben. We'll see you next year, maybe.
Yeah, well, maybe. There's no doubt about it. No question in my mind. If I'm here, you're going to be here.
Great, man.
We'll call that one the third annual Steve Goodman, Vin Scelsa Easter Sunday morning show.
Great, man. Appreciate it.
Take care, Steve.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Things are not what they seem in Glockamora. We have liftoff.
Yes, we have lifted off.
I just want to use my usual 10-minute wrap of how great everything was, and I killed the program before it started.
David Amram, Steve Goodman, the Steve Goodman, Vin Scelsa third annual Easter Sunday morning show. I think we'll call this part 2. How about that? Part 2.
This is. Did you ask for a song called "Do It Yourself"? Is that what you asked for?
I'd sure like to hear that. Sure.
Okay. So this is for Noah, wherever he is this morning.
A long time ago on some forgotten date, this old world was in such a sorry state. The Lord made it rain, said that's all she wrote. 2 by 2 the animals piled on board. Noah looks up and he says, hey Lord, how the hell do you expect this thing to flow? If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. You can't count on anybody else, and it sure is hard to get good help these days. Oh, a little hard work is its own reward. There isn't any sense in calling on the Lord, 'cause everybody knows that the Lord helps anyway. At the first Thanksgiving on Plymouth Rock, the Indians taught the Pilgrims how to turkey trot. John Alden and Priscilla were twisting the night away. Then they took a little walk around the bend. John Alden popped the question on behalf of his friend. She gave the answer that took that boy's heart away. When she said, if you want it done right, you've got to do it yourself. It sure is hard to get good help these days. She said a little hard work is its own reward. There isn't any sense in calling on the Lord, 'cause everybody knows that the Lord helps anyway. Now my morning newspaper got bent out of shape. They found the 18 missing minutes of Watergate tape, and they took it to Peoria to see if the tape would play. It was, oh Rosemary, don't you weep, don't you mourn. Alderman met Ehrlichman coming through the corn with an Oval Office memo. This is what it had to say. If you want it done right, you've got to do it yourself. You can't count on anybody else. Sure is hard to get good help these days, these days, these days, these days. A little hard work is its own reward. There isn't any sense in calling on the Lord, 'cause everybody knows that the Lord helps. Everybody knows that the Lord helps. Everybody knows that the Lord helps anyway.
David, what are these things called?
Well, the instrument that you're playing, Vince, is called a cabasa.
Cabasa. Playing poorly, but attempting
It's
to
a Polish
do a
sausage
little
with
bit
chains.
And the instrument that I'm playing, is called a dumbek, which I just brought back from Alexandria, Egypt, where I was a few weeks ago.
Egypt.
It's made out of clay with a goat skin head. And it gets a wonderful sound that can be used in almost any kind of music.
It's beautiful. Beautiful instrument. And the instrument that Steve is playing.
It's the first time it's been played on these songs, folks, let me tell you.
What kind of guitar are you working with here, Steve?
This is a new Martin, a rarity amongst musicians. Takes a lot of nerve to play a new Martin. A lot of guys are going around, like myself, looking for the good old one. But this is just a little Martin 00018 with a sunburst top. And in 25 years, it will be a 25-year-old Martin.
Will it be a good old Martin then?
Yeah, I think so. They do a pretty good job, you know. There's a lot of good guitar companies, and these guys are, you know, a good old line firm from way back. Yeah, man. So much for testimonials, huh?
I brought my
Send me a
Selmer.
car.
We may have quite a climax to this show, friends. I got to tell you, I brought my saxophone, and I'm trying to build up some courage.
I also have a flute from Lahore, Pakistan, which probably hasn't been played too often in these parts either.
Oh, that sounds great. Say, should we play something that we can play those things on?
Sure.
Okay, can you play the saxophone in G?
No.
In my G.
No, just you two
I
guys.
just have to know. Can
no,
you do it?
I can't. No, I can't. I'm sure a saxophone player could, but I can't.
Well, what's a good key for you?
There isn't one, Steve.
You sure?
Yeah. I've rehearsed one song, and that's the only song that I'm going to have the courage to play.
Sounded good, too.
We'll see.
Well, I think we should
I think just so that the people of New York can find out what a natural resource David Amram is, I think we'll play Mama Don't Allow No Music Playing in here, just so that David Amram can play every damn thing in this room. Oh. And hate to give him a workout like this on a Sunday morning, but it's worth taking the beating for later. Here we go.
This is Happy Easter to all of you folks.
Mama don't allow no music playing in here. Sure don't allow no music playing in here. Oh, we don't care what she don't allow. David play it anyhow. Mama don't allow no music playing in here. Now my mama don't allow no doomback playing in here. She don't allow no doomback playing in here. She don't care what mama don't allow. David play it anyhow. Mama don't allow no doomback playing in here. Mama don't allow no cabasa playing around here. She don't allow no cabasa playing around here. Well, even if I can't say it, David Amram sure can play it. Mama don't allow no cabasa playing around here. Mama don't allow no tin whistle playing in here. Don't allow no tin whistle playing in here. We don't care what mama don't allow. They've gonna play him anyhow. My mama don't allow no clock to playing around here. Mama don't allow no piano playing in here. She don't allow no piano playing in here. We don't care what mama don't allow. David gonna play it anyhow. My mama don't allow no piano playing in here. Saxophone playing in here.
No, she sure
don't allow no saxophone playing in here. And I know, although it makes him wince, now we have to hear from Vince. Mama don't allow no saxophone playing in here. Yes.
I'll find the right note. I thought we were going to do Easter Parade. What? Wait a minute. Hold it. Cue
I have a dear old mother, and if you see her before I do, won't you tell her that I'm coming, and I'm marching straight on through. And when the saints go marching in, and when the saints go marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number when the saints go marching in.
Are you kidding?
Not
Good.
bad.
Wait a minute. I think. Well, we're
This is
gonna.
real Gonzo New York radio.
We're
you're
gonna
doing
have
here
to
now.
think about that. Now, you really, Stephen, you put me on the spot. with my horn. I mean, I've been bragging to people for months and months and months about this horn.
Now we'll play one that you can play, man. Stop, man. This is all right.
Shucks. No, we're going to save that for the end. We're going to save that for the end.
Oh, man, let's play it now. Come on,
Wanna
we
do
got
it?
the thing out. Sure,
You wanna
know,
do it now?
we can reprise it over the credits.
All right, we'll do it now.
It's gonna take us one time through in E flat for us to learn it anyway, man. So.
All right. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Are you ready for this?
In your Easter bonnet, with all the frills upon it, you'll be the grandest lady in the Easter parade. I'll be all in clover, and when folks look us over, I'll be the proudest fella in the Easter parade. On the avenue, Fifth Avenue, the photographer will snap us. You'll find that you're in the rotogravure. I could write a sonnet about that Easter bonnet and about the girl I'm taking to the Easter parade. On the avenue, Fifth Avenue, the photographer will snap her. You'll find that you're in the rotogravure. I could write a sonnet about that Easter bonnet and about the girl I'm taking to the Easter parade.
David Amram on the piano, Steve Goodman, guitar and vocals. And I
Easter
don't
Parade
know,
and the
man.
instrumental that followed it. I think we should call that clam juice.
Clam juice.
Clamato.
I only
Yeah.
hit one bet, Steve. I only hit one wrong note.
That was the one that sounded like it was right, man.
Somebody told me.
This is these in here. Missing links.
Somebody
Like
told me
sausage
that,
here.
that all I had to do. See, I haven't played the saxophone in
You
like
sound
15
great.
years, and somebody told me all I had to do was, David, you would know about this, was just play from the heart. And if I
Right.
played from the heart, it didn't matter what notes I hit.
There's no wrong notes, there's only wrong intentions. And since you got the right intention, it sounded out of state.
Oh man.
Do one more, do
The rest
one
of us
more.
are supposed to talk after that.
Steven, do one more.
Well, let's see. I trust judicious editing will get us out of this. Is that what they say in show business? Nothing like sitting around WNEW on Sunday morning, ain't it, folks?
Which is nothing like what we're doing right now.
These are a couple of old songs. Run them together here for you. Little boy was eating an apple, and he went to throw the core away. And then he took another look, and somebody heard him say, I ain't gonna throw that away. I ain't gonna throw that away. There's a whole lot more apple on this core, and I ain't gonna throw it away. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her muckets and huckets. Along come a great big spider, and he put his foot right in the bucket. She said, I ain't gonna throw that away. I ain't gonna throw it away. I'll just have this jerk for my dessert, and I ain't gonna throw him away. There was a blind man eating in the county house, and he found a rat tail in his stew. He heard somebody shout, you better throw that out. He said, I'll be gosh darned if and I do. Oh, I ain't gonna throw that away. I ain't gonna throw that away. 'Cause when we eat, we get mighty little meat, and I ain't gonna throw that away. There once was a doctor, and his name was Peck. He fell into the well, and he broke his neck. Serves him right. He should have stayed at home and attended to the sick and left the well alone. He's long gone from Kentucky. Long gone. Must be lucky. Long gone. What I mean, he's long gone, Johnny, from Bowling Green. Well, here's one for the Quality Courts Motor Hotel in Indianapolis. Okay, we'll do that. This is called This Hotel Room. They like these segues, Vince. I learned this from listening to the radio.
hotel room has got a lot of stuff. It's got a laundry bag, it's got a shoe shine cloth, 32 hangers and a touch-tone phone with a light that goes on when I'm not home. I'm not home, I'm not home. The light goes on when I'm not home. They got a air conditioner for when I'm hot. They got a radiator for when I'm not. They've got two big chairs that sit side by side with a holy Bible and a TV guide. TV guide, TV guide. Great God Almighty, it's a TV guide. Got a second-story view from curb to curb, a sign that says please don't disturb, a monogram towel and a bucket of ice. They've got a chest of drawers and a mirror that lies. A mirror that lies, a mirror that lies. That can't be me in the gorilla disguise. Got a room service menu for food and drink. They've got a porcelain throne next to an aluminum sink, and two big pillows to rest my head. Magic fingers on a king-size bed. You just drop in the quarter and shut off the light. The magic fingers make you feel alright. Feel alright. Feel alright. The magic fingers make you feel alright. This old hotel is alright with me. They pay the postage if you lose the key. The hotel room has got some stuff, but I believe that I've had enough. I call my baby, said don't you pout. I pack up my bags, I'm checking out. As soon as you hang up the telephone, just put a candle in the window. I'm coming home, I'm coming home, coming home. Put a candle in the window. I'm coming home, coming home, and I'm coming home. Put a candle in the window. I'm coming home.
Steve Goodman with David Amram and me, Vin Scelsa, on an Easter Sunday morning. Let's take a break.